about 6 months or so. And she calls me on the phone and she goes, Kathy, you're going to buy my house. Okay, well, can you tell me a little bit about your situation? No, you're going to buy my house. Okay, why am I going to buy your house? Well, I do things in threes, and I just got the third contact from you, so you're going to buy my house. She was right. She deeded it to me. She's a lovely lady. So never try to think about what's in your seller's minds, because you're never going to figure it out. Okay. Now, there are some specific steps to your marketing success. Number one, you've got to pick your target prospects. In marketing, there are two different kinds of prospects that we're going to be working with. And we call it a target approach and a shotgun approach. Shotgun approach is where we hand out some business cards, run ads in the newspaper, advertise on the internet, those types of things. And you hope that someone in that big group of folks has a property that they need to sell. And you certainly need to implement those items as part of your total marketing plan, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But what I primarily want to focus on today is a very targeted approach to where you are going after the specific kinds of sellers that you want to work with in your business to create the kind of deal that you need right now. All right? So the way that we're going to do that is by mailing a proven letter. Well, Kathy, what makes a proven letter work? Number one, you need to mail the right letter to the right prospect. And in my particular case, I've actually developed 12 different direct mail campaigns that I use to mail to specific types of sellers using very specific lists. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. It needs to have that response mechanism that we just talked about. I'll tell you what, that's the best tool in the world. Because each one of my direct mail campaigns has that response mechanism. And so every time I get responses from sellers, they will give me the information that I need. And here's the funny part. 90% of the sellers that I work with, 90% of the sellers I work with do not pick up a telephone and call me. Why do you think that is?
They're scared.
That, and because that's what I told them I wanted them to do. Okay? Because I'm not always around. All the calls from our sellers come into our office. That's just the way that we do it. We always have. Because 90% of the responses I get come by email, fax, and snail mail. And believe it or not, 70% of our responses come by mail, like in the mailbox. Okay? Which is very, very cool. I think that's very, very cool. And the reason that they do that is because they've written out everything I want to know and they mail it right back to me. As a matter of fact, there are times when we get elderly sellers who will say, right in the body of the letter, please do not call me, send me the offer by mail. Okay, so we write them a really nice letter, here's the offer we're making, here's why. And then we explain what our reasoning is for our offer. And we buy, obviously, we buy a whole lot of property, so that's very cool. It needs to address the prospective seller's particular situation. So, for example, I would not send out a letter that I'm using for estate and probate to someone who's in pre-foreclosure. Okay, so we use a specific letter that addresses a specific seller's situation. And then it needs to include multiple ways to contact you. Write that down, folks. This is really, really important. The more ways you give a seller to contact you, the more of them are going to, because you're going to be reaching them at their comfort level. So give them a mailing address. Give them an email address. Give them a phone number. Give them a fax number. Give them that website. Okay? The more ways you give that seller to contact you, the more of them are going to, because you're going to be reaching them at whatever their comfort level is. Then we're going to buy some houses. We're going to sell, wholesale, lease option, or rent those houses. And then we're going to do it again. We're going to create a system for you that's going to bring you deal after deal after deal after deal after deal. Is that okay with everybody? Yes?
Oh, yeah.